Hello and welcome to another episode of the Watch Black Mirror podcast. I am your host, Jorgen Smorgasbord.
And I am Jim with a G.
Also your host. This is a
right,
collaborative endeavor.
Hell yeah.
Today we watched the Black Mirror season 4, episode 3, Crocodile.
Which takes place in Iceland.
Which takes place in Scotland, but was filmed in Iceland.
Yeah. Which we all saw right from this first scene.
And let's see. Would we both recommend watching this episode?
No.
I hate this.
I didn't hate it.
I hated it.
Okay. I'm interested. I want to dig into that because I don't have a strong emotional reaction to this episode apart from just kind of like chuckling. Chuckling while very bleak things happen on screen. Tell us more about your view on things, Jorgen.
Well, it was really bad and stupid.
I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that summary judgment.
Yeah.
What did it make you feel deep inside?
Angry.
What thoughts did it provoke about society?
Oh, none.
And I think that's really interesting.
How can we make TV like this?
I don't know. But I'd like to get in on it. So...
Would you?
Kinda.
Would you like your name in these credits?
I mean, I wouldn't want people to see it, but I'd want the money from it. I think that would be lovely.
We would all want money.
Because I feel
it's not really the same thing.
Because this episode specifically has been like criticized for being too bleak even by Black Mirror standards, which I think is a very funny description at the core of it. But also like, what's up with it? You know, like, shall we start digging into it?
Yeah.
A little bit.
No, I think the defining feature of this episode is a sort of exponential pace curve, I would say.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you could probably put like main events in the story on like a genuine like x to the power of 2 graph and just kind of be done with it.
It's not exponential.
Whatever.
It's quadratic.
Don't bully me about math. Just at the start of this episode too, Jesus Christ.
Well, you know who else does math? Architects. You know who becomes an architect? That's right, it's our protagonist for this episode.
Andrea Riseborough. How do the British say that again? Borough?
Riseborough.
Bruh. Okay, I didn't know if they were Zoomers. Okay, Andrea...
Sort of all comes around, you know.
Yeah, so the short summary of this episode, once we get out of the weird little what the hell is going on here phase we've started with, is we have an architect. Well, I don't think she's an architect in the very first scene, which takes place in the past, I guess.
Yeah, she's a drifter in the very first scene. She's
one of those cool, young, hot people who do drugs.
At raves.
Yeah.
And then who, in the next day, drive across, like, a mountain pass to somewhere, well, nowhere in particular, hit a cyclist, dumped a cyclist into the sea, and then shut up about it for 15 years.
Yeah. At which point, the actual person who hit said cyclist comes in and goes like, I'm gonna confess, kinda.
Yeah.
And she's like, no you're not. Knife in the neck. And, you know, here's where the parabola begins.
Was there a knife?
I thought it was a knife.
I didn't see a knife.
I thought she stabbed him in the neck. Okay, that we can argue about that later, I suppose.
No, we don't have to, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Hello, Podcat.
We have a great podcast up here. Podcast appearance.
Yeah. Who knew calling him Podcat would create issues when we had to describe his actions? So anyway, she kills another dude, and...
Yeah, she kills the guy who wants to confess over him wanting to confess, because she's like, well, you can't do this. I'm a famous architect now.
Yeah,
I do math for a living.
I've been an accessory for 15 years now. I don't want you to come out about this hit and run we did.
Yeah, no, they should have gotten married.
You made this joke while we were watching.
Yeah, but the listeners didn't hear.
I think that's fine. I think the listeners would have been fine without that. And then we have the other inciting incident where she watches as a pizza van hits a pedestrian.
Yeah.
And this is where we're introduced to our deuteragonist, I suppose, who is an insurance investigator with a memory machine. I believe it's the guy who gets hit by the van later calls it a memory dredger, which I actually think that's a cool name.
That's a cool as hell name.
Yeah, they just, like, she goes, no, they're called corroborators, but, like, memory dredger? Cool as hell. Should have stuck with that. That's like a Dishonored tech piece.
Oh, yeah, no. Never played Dishonored, actually.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I think this would have fit right in.
I mean, I've seen, like, all of the first one.
You've seen all of it?
Yeah.
Okay, fascinating.
But yeah, no, and this is like, because until now, we haven't been in a Tech Black Mirror episode.
No.
Like,
This is just the basic Charlie Brooker doing crime. Surprisingly, no affairs, I think, in this episode. I should flag that.
No, I think the affairs would have resulted in further murders.
We'll get to the further murders part.
Well, we're getting there fast, I think.
Yeah.
Because the insurance agent, like does, like, a few fetch quests, and it's like, okay, this woman is the only person who's seen the accident, and I can facial recognition her from the memory of a man who was, like, furtively catching her in the corner of his eye while looking at a hot guy from across the street, and that is enough for the facial recognition database to go, oh yeah, it's her.
Yeah, like that, you can't imagine that this goes under like a p equals 0.5, right? Like this is
Nah.
the amount of hoops you have to jump for here. But again, we are not usually here to criticize tech.
Yeah.
The point is, she has a tool that essentially, like, I guess, like,
extracts visual memory.
Yeah, but, like, from, the person's own biases and such, which doesn't come up a lot.
It comes up once, and then it doesn't.
It comes up once with a dentist thinking that a pedestrian's jacket was lime instead of yellow, and then when she goes, it was yellow actually, he's like, oh yeah, you're right, you got me.
And the jacket's color shifts, and that's not really a thing that comes up again.
No.
Anyway.
Yes, the insurance adjuster does do a couple of fetch quests. To be honest, there is a part of this. Having watched this episode, I forgot why she was doing this in regard to the main plot until they got to, like, the third person in a row, and I was like, right, he sees her. That's how the insurance adjuster gets to the main character, Andrea Riceborough. I'm gonna keep doing that. I think it's just gonna get worse over the course of this episode.
The insurance adjuster is like, well, if I want this adjustment, I've got to track down this lady, and I gotta get her viewpoint, because no one is, like, particularly sure on how fast the automated pizza van was going, which, like, that's also just, like, a piece of set dressing that's not, like, supposed to be, like, anything bigger.
Yeah, no, the only relevant piece of tech in this episode is the memory dredger.
That's right. And, she, like, goes to this lady's house and is like, hey, can I look at your memories, please? I need it for this investigation of a, like, vague hit and run. And she, like, sort of pressures her a little bit about, like, I have to inform the police if you don't want to be a witness. And, through this, our double murderer is like, I guess you can look at my memories.
Well, to be fair, I think so far it's one murder and, like, half of a manslaughter or something like that.
Yeah. But she's like, I guess you can look at my memories. I guess I'm fine with that.
Yeah, and...
Which is, like, insane.
Yeah, like, it's, we have a lot of privacy issues in general in Black Mirror. I think this one is probably up there. Maybe the worst one so far.
Well...
I know Archangel, I guess, is a really strong competitor too, but, like...
Yeah, I feel like this one's weird because, like we're not set up to believe that she can't just opt out.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there is a way. Because like we have the insurance just to come in and be like, listen, I know you were watching porn. It's okay. People watch porn. I just want to see, like, that truck hitting that dude. Um,
You really want to see that truck hitting that dude.
yeah, that's her porn. Anyway, yeah, so she does, and then, like, honestly, for the first bit of it, this goes perfectly. Like,
Yeah, no, she like really focuses on only remembering things that aren't highly incriminating.
Yeah,
and
just-
then we just get like this flood of like murder and guilt and death and pain.
Yeah, like it
And
starts with her like having the memory of the argument with the person she killed, her old buddy, the hit and runner from 15 years ago, and then it like starts to flashes of his distressed face, and then just like back to the actual incident like 15 years ago. Like she really fucks up really fast on not thinking
Yeah.
about the incriminating stuff.
yeah, no, she is the most thinking about pink elephants
Yeah.
like anyone has ever been. And, she sort of chases the insurance adjuster with, like, awkward explanations out of the house. And the adjuster, like, clearly, like, stricken from, like, this horrid swell of images. Is like, I haven't seen shit. Do not follow me, please.
Yeah.
And then she gets her car window bashed in.
Yeah, with a rock too. Like
Yeah, no,
this.
just a convenient rock. Just, like, going for it.
I mean, they're in Iceland.
Yeah,
As established.
They're in Scotland. There's just a map of Iceland because Scotland and Iceland are of like a sort of same geographic make.
Yeah, that makes sense. They're just showing, like, look, here's the
Yeah, and all
similar...
the thermal power also. The
Scotland is
geothermal
known
power
for.
is Scottish geothermal power.
Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, like, I have to give her credit there, because, like, I didn't think about this during the episode, but, like, Andrea Riceborough is quite, like, she has quite a slight frame, I think, right?
Yeah.
Like, she does not seem like a woman who goes to the gym to do strength stuff, right? Like, and she
But
just...
the gym has been mentioned in the episode.
It has actually, yes. But she seems like she has like a runner's physique. Maybe like a swimmer.
No, she seems like she does cardio.
Yeah. And she just picks up this rock that's like twice the size of her hand and just starts bashing. Like, she just goes.
Yeah, no, and then we have... I want to say probably the most interesting scene of the episode when she has dragged this insurance agent to like an abandoned building and it's like, all right, I'm gonna have to look at your memory though.
I think it's her shed. And like, I want to say, I've never watched Nordic noir in my life, but this struck me as like, this is extremely Nordic noir, isn't it? This is exactly like the serial killer scene you get at some point at the end of the movie.
Yeah, no, not a big Nordic noir head either. I think I would be more upset if I was. I guess I've seen Katla.
I haven't. But yeah, like, it's this abandoned shed, or semi-abandoned shed. It just has the, like, oh yeah, someone cut wood here, like, 15 years ago, and that was the last activity this place has seen.
Yeah.
And she, has bound this insurance adjuster up.
Quite expertly.
Yes, well done, one must admit, after breaking the car window and everything. Like, she just goes for it.
She is a go-getter. She is on the ball. And she's like, now listen, you're clearly lying to me about being able to delete this, about nobody knowing you're here, and about everything else. So I'm gonna extract your memories through the dredge, and then I'm going to go and kill your husband.
Yeah, because she goes like, what was the last thing you remember before like coming here? Like what was the sequence of events? And she sings in the car, and then she goes further back, and she looks at her husband and goes, "Hello, husband. I am going to the place."
Yeah, I'm going to see the woman that is in front of me now.
Yeah, I'm going to see Andrea Riceborough, and that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
Goodbye, husband.
Yeah, I have mentioned her by name, therefore you are marked for death. And
Then I think she just gets clobbered, right? Like she's like crying.
I mean, she gets she's Muslim, I think. So she gets to say her prayers before she dies.
Yeah.
I think there's like, we are kind of given to understand that this is a serial murderer with cultural
Respect.
respect.
Yeah, it's lovely.
And then like you know, like, there's, like, a tiny bit of, like, intermitting bits with, like, the husband. But fundamentally, the next piece that happens is that she goes to this woman's home.
She has at this point clobbered to death, I believe,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
like a 2x4.
Yeah, we're not sure what she does with the body, I don't think. I want to say it's like brick of concrete.
Yeah, probably. I think I forget because we get the indication, actually, we forgot to mention it, but we get the indication that like her former friend, she dumps in like a thermal power well.
Maybe.
So I don't know if
Maybe that's what that was.
yeah, I'm guessing that in hindsight because I was very confused. I was like, is this?
Yeah, I thought that was gonna come up and be explained, and that's why I was like, we're gonna probably find out, and we don't.
Because it's just like a hole in the ground where smoke comes out of. So until then, I was just like, is this where they cook concrete? Because that's my best guess currently.
Yeah, no, like she drives to a construction site, and we're like, well, she's clearly dumping him in concrete, old school style.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think they specify. I think at this point we just establish this woman, master serial killer, whether she wants to be or not.
And yeah, no, she goes to this lady's house and it's like, just like looming as the husband like is like watching TV, like just follows him silently into the bathroom where she gets a phone call and is like, whoops, bog.
And she like hammers him on the head, and he looks mildly upset at first, like, hey, that hurt, and then the second one just like does him in.
Yeah.
And he like drowns, I guess might be the technical cause of death.
Yeah, and
but like I really also want to say, in these scenes, she's filmed like a slasher movie, like because she is just hovering there with like a hammer.
Yeah, no, like Nordic noir is not the only influence of this episode.
Which is very funny, because it feels like it clashes a bit, but oh.
Yeah, and yeah, then the sort of climax of the movie happens in a cutaway, because you see this woman and her husband had a child.
They sure did.
And
little Ali, I believe.
And the child and the woman sort of see each other as she's leaving the building, and we cut away, and then she's like at her kid's recital,
and she looks messed up.
Yeah, and she's had like a bottle of wine, and she's just like completely going through it at this recital as like absolutely like no time later the police show up and go like, holy shit, there's been a massive clobbering here. we're gonna have to see about this, and oh no, the child has been killed. So that cutaway wasn't a fake out.
Yeah, no,
that was just like the mercy of not seeing a child die.
Hammered.
Yeah.
Like, and this is where we get to the funniest Chekhov's gun in literary stories.
No.
Okay.
Beforehand, we do have Charlie Brooker twisting the knife in the strangest way.
Oh, yeah, okay, that...
Because you see, what we're supposed to have taken away, or maybe at least be kind of understanding at this point, is that the child has been murdered over having seen this woman's face because she was covering her face and then she stopped after she got done killing.
Yeah, because we imagine, like, this child is too young to speak, but they could have assumedly memory dredged the child, which... doesn't sound great, but we're, I guess that's on the side of good.
But one of the cops goes, like, pointless too, because the child was blind.
Because it's like, he didn't even seem to be like the chief investigator here or something. He was just like, oh man, I read the irony report before coming here to talk about how the child was blind.
Yeah, and then the Chekhov's gun, which we did not set up at all.
No,
goes off.
But I think it's way funnier that we didn't.
Because you see, there is another witness, because this woman's husband got her a guinea pig for her birthday, who witnessed the whole thing. So the episode ends as this woman is still at the recital, and police enter the building.
We got you a son of a bitch guinea pig. Codger, I think the name was. Codger got you. He saw everything. Well, specifically, you killing the blind child.
Yeah, which, to be fair, should be enough to put her away for life.
Probably, yeah.
And then some.
By assumption, you're going to get to at least a couple of other murders, right?
But we don't go through the resolution at all. We just get credits. And that's the episode. And...
what does that say about our society,
like,
Jorgen?
this episode, to me, resists interpretation because it just, like, baffles me so aggressively. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. It has, even the dumb episodes, even Macy Day, it felt like they started a writing process with something to say. Now, whether they said that well, efficiently, or even remembered that they meant to say that, like, it felt like it was there. This one does more feel like they just wanted to write a crime story.
yeah.
And I think one thing to note, like, I am not a Nordic noir person, but one thing that's very distinctive about Nordic noir is that it's not just a crime story, which would have been fine, to be clear, but it also has a lot of, like, societal commentary, right? That's a very implicit part of, like, Nordic noir and the police system, blah, 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 blah. I don't know if they do it well. I just know that is kind of like part of the mission statement. So it's kind of ironic that this episode that is explicitly inspired by Nordic noir is probably the least social commentary episode of Black Mirror we've seen this far.
Yeah. So, specifically, when Madame having done a murder and a half,
Yeah.
gets confronted, right? In my mind, like, there's like this, like, there's like a clear through line. Oh, yeah, no, she's been in a car accident involved murder, and now she's being asked about a car accident involved murder.
Yeah.
So, like, the thing to do in my mind here is to go like, oh, yeah, no, she doesn't think about the murder she did recently, but, like, the car accident, right, sort of brings forward the memories of the old murder, and then we have, like, this sort of tense, like, investigation, whatever. To be fair, we don't need a recent murder for that storyline. But, like, that's kind of what I was hoping for, and then everything went off the rails.
Very quickly, one might add, like, again, we really need to talk about the exponential growth here. Well, I don't actually think we need to talk about it. I think we just need to mention it.
Yeah.
I think what we've recounted here is fairly apparent as to that far. But yeah, like, I think also, one thing that stuck out to me, I think, about this episode was the part where after she gets her memory scanned and she's, like, thinking about, like, these very blurred images of her, like, looking at the guy, the first full murder she committed, of the guy who wanted to confess to the old murder. Like, all of that was very blurry. Like, I think what I would take out of that is, like, oh, she got in a fight. And then there's the images of the old murder. Like, so far, it seems like it would be hard to, like, fully get her for any of this, right?
Yeah.
Because we've seen, like, facial recognition, but, like, the first one where she's just looking at the, like, corpse that she hit with the car, or that her companion hit with the car, like, there's nothing to that. It's just a crumpled body. Like, that's not identifiable.
Yeah, no, like, I want to kind of go straight to Foucault here.
Okay.
Because, like, she's the only person who has this experience who's like, oh, I don't want to think about the bad thing, right?
Yeah.
Who's like, oh, I want to hide something from the memory dredge. But, of course, because I want to hide it so much, it comes up.
It pink elephants it.
But, like, that doesn't happen to anyone else. Like, no one else is like, oh, yeah, no, shit, I guess I'm, like, spilling the affair I'm having in general. Like,
Yeah.
not even, like, in this time frame, just, like, in general. Because I'm being dredged. No one... That is not something that is affecting society.
I think that one is really interesting because it almost feels like they're setting up, right? Because they do explicitly mention, hey, this thing is prone to, like, you know, or, like, your memories, the things we are watching, are prone to being affected by, like, your emotions, by, like, your biased cognition. And, like, I'm sitting here as someone who studies psychology and go, yeah, dude, you're right. And then it never comes up again, apart from one person misremembering the color of a jacket.
Yeah.
Like, we see 3 total memory dredgings before her, and all of them are, like, seem to be more or less perfect recollections. There's no drifting in and out. There's no, like, oh, yeah, I saw a pretty girl on the street that made me think of, like, my ex-girlfriend, or, like, oh, yeah, I heard this music that made me think of this. Like, there's nothing of that. She's the only one for whom it happens. And I'm like, that feels like a huge missed opportunity, right?
Yeah, no, there's like a chance to have like a Proustian reverie.
Sure. I don't know what that means. And I think you know I don't know what that means.
I think I've actually mentioned it before. A Proustian reverie is like when sort of like when you have like something, when you encounter something, and you just have like the mind dominoes go off to send you into like places that you thought you'd forgotten, and you just like suddenly like of something like quite innocuous, you're just like, holy shit, I am like remembering my past. I am like sort of stepping outside time and seeing myself from this like particular like stimulus that just like gets me to see myself from the outside, to like go back to things that are like deep and important to me.
I think there could have been a lot to be done with that. I also think it's interesting because there is actually one other person in this setting that has done something bad. It's light, but it's the dentist, the last person who was trying to like take sneak pictures of a naked man in a hotel window. And like, even just in that scene, I feel like there could have been a little bit of like avoiding, like, oh no, he was definitely clothed when I was trying to take pictures of him, and then, you know, like some pressing and be like, oh no, I was being like a total pervert about it. Like, there are hints that something greater is going on here. And obviously the idea of like, hey, effectively the police in the long run has access to this highly flawed method of getting information based on emotions. Like, that's good. That's something to do with, right? Like,
I mean, I think there's an interesting thing to do here, right? Because like, that is kind of what police work is already, right? You're working with memory. Like, what the Dredge actually does is introduce a way to compel testimony.
Yeah, compel testimony, and might I add, it's a running theme in this episode that like she uses like tricks to get them to remember more clearly.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, no, she's a pro. She's like, oh yeah, no, I'm putting on this song that you probably heard.
Yeah.
Or like, you probably didn't hear this song. I'm like producing the smell that was like there in the situation. Like,
yeah.
So like, we are seeing someone who is like she is the Dredge in a way.
She's putting the thumb on the scale of something that is at least to some extent meant to be objective. And I think that's like, there's a lot to do with it, right? Because the first time you hear, hey, there's been a crime and we're going to investigate people's memories of stuff surrounding it, you go, oh, this is Rashomon. Like, a little bit at least, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can talk about this, and I'm not sure if I trust Black Mirror to do Rashomon, but like, that's kind of what you expect, but it just completely abandons it, I feel like. I feel like the tech ends up being the like, we're gonna memory dredge the guinea pig for the final twist. Like, that's all it kind of is, in a way.
Yeah,
like,
which does also feel a bit like, oh, she's gonna get away with it, because guinea pig memories can't be like admissible in court, surely.
Well, I think the funniest part, right, is we get these scenes of her like eliciting the memories, because without her help they're too like vague. But apparently the guinea pig, perfect clarity on the child clobbering. Like, because, you know, it seems to happen with, like, I don't know, 15 minutes maybe between them memory dredging the guinea pig.
Maybe it's a really long recital.
I suppose, yeah. But it's just, like, it's like, the twist is funny on its own, and I think it gets funnier when you delve into it further with all the other implications. But it does... Do you ever get the feeling that certain Black Mirror episodes had a much grander plan, and then someone was like, nah, we can't do all of that, just put something together with the pieces? Because that's kind of what I feel about this episode.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I'm not really seeing the hints.
Okay.
I'm not seeing, like, where this would have, like, this does not smell of ambition to me.
I mean, I guess that's fair. I guess for me, I'm just thinking about the parts where it's like they're hinting at these, like, oh yeah, this memory ritual method is actually problematic. I guess one thing that really struck me in my head, like, was the scene where she's running after the insurance agent, going like, oh no, like, I know you saw me, like, being all mad and, like, having someone's distressed face, but, like, I just had bad thoughts. And I'm like, holy shit, this this is gonna be hell to watch for a person with like moral OCD, because that's like genuinely what happens for people with moral OCD, is the like intrusive images, not actually wanting to act on them but having them there, and like that on its own could have been kind of fun to be like, oh yeah, we are just kind of arrested a person who has like a mental disorder, who imagined themselves committing a crime, and like,
Yeah.
like that's what I mean. It's like there's a lot to do with the fallibility of human memory here, and to like sort of use it in this is effectively ends up being police work, right? It's just done by an insurance adjuster.
No, like,
because it has, she is the agent, you know, like she is the police agent in the story.
yeah, like, I guess I'm reminded of like a piece of writing advice that you're quite fond of, which is that like, oh yeah, no, if you're worried that things are getting a bit slow, a man with a gun should enter the room.
A woman with a rock enters the car.
Or a hammer.
Or a hammer.
Or a car.
She's really blunt, I guess. That's the core.
Like, I was just genuinely thinking of Demon 76. Like...
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, no. Like, Charlie Brooker just loves writing bashers.
I do think, like, because people have criticized, I've, like, looked at a bit of the reviews, people have criticized that this episode is not just overly bleak, but maybe overly violent, and I think the decision to have it be with, like, a blunt instrument, definitely, I think, is, like, a part of making it feel more violent, right?
Oh, yeah. Well...
Like, you have... The cracking of someone's head with a hammer is, like, more gratuitous, I suppose, than slicing someone's throat with a knife, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, should we talk about the Technicolor knives for a second?
No.
Okay, that's right. There's a scene where they have very silly colored knives.
And they're, like, in focus at one point. To, like, start to signal, I guess, the thought of murder, like, forming.
Oh, yeah, like, she's ready. She's thinking about murder constantly.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what more to do with this episode, because it doesn't feel like there's any depth to it, right? Like, it has the Black Mirror thing where it kind of establishes that, like, hey, you should think about the implications of this, but then, like, maybe we just dug for something that wasn't really there in this one.
Yeah, no, like, I'm reminded of, like, very early when the insurance adjuster is introduced. There's two things that stand out about the technology of this episode. One, very chunky. Right?
Yeah, right. It has like a 1993
yeah, no,
feel.
this is like raw retrofuturism.
Yeah, like it feels like it should have like a cartridge, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Or like a floppy disk.
So it's very chunky. It's like this very long and big monitor. And also, it has this wire that lights up. And, like, it just... I feel like I have something here and I'm grasping at straws.
It's a weird, like, futurism, because on one thing, I, like, just the aesthetics of this episode is very, like, ultra-modern, right? Like, we get to see these, like, modernistic architectures and stuff like that. Like, that's kind of like I guess an aesthetic theme of this episode. I don't think it really points to anything, but it's like it does have the, you know, people building these like glass and wooden perfectly engineered things out in the wilderness of Iceland.
Yeah, it really does. I don't know. I feel like there's I guess there's something symbolic to me to having like this sort of like strange representation that doesn't like quite fit with reality, but I don't know.
Like, I think it is one of those things where like architect is one of those jobs in fiction where you just kind of like you live in perfect luxury in like a weird place.
I guess like if we're trying to mine this episode for something a bit more meaningful,
sure, yeah.
I do actually have like some thoughts that were like popping into my head like as the memory dredge started being deployed.
Okay.
Because like one thing Black Mirror does like quite gleefully is like tossing technology into like a situation, right?
Yeah.
And you know it's often like quite implausible technology or whatever. And in the context of a police procedural, which this essentially is, it strikes me like, well, all police procedurals do that. This one just really wears it on its sleeve. Like, with this one, that's kind of the point. I don't know if there's much more there than that, other than, like, it being honest about the technology not existing.
Yeah, I suppose, like, like this essentially does take the place of, like, what's it called, fingerprints and stuff like that being perfectly accurate.
Or like the place of like, oh yeah, we got a reflection of her face in the camera from the like parking garage around the corner because there's like a mirror, right? And
I think you've seen more police procedurals.
I've seen a lot of police procedurals, and yeah, no, I know. I thought like it was a bit refreshing to have like, oh yeah, no, we're just gonna wing it. We're just gonna like have the technology actually be like fictitious proper rather than like verisimilitudinously fictitious.
Right. This is a step beyond the enhance button.
Yeah.
But what? Why? Like, what does that do?
Well, I think it's more interesting because like
I'm with you on that. It's just like, I don't know. To me, like if this just wanted to be a police procedural that was more upfront about it. Like, does that actually change the story?
I don't know what the story wanted to be.
I wanted to be a woman kills a bunch of people. That's like a cascading on no witnesses sort of situation.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, what this is to me is like I think this is more interesting as a piece to like hold up police procedurals against rather than like on its own. To just go like, well, like, you realize this is just like the dumb Black Mirror episode and you've just like put more like realistic gloss over it.
I guess, to be fair, like when you give your explanation there of like the reflection of the mirror of the face or whatever, suddenly the guinea pig brain scanning seems very natural.
Yeah, no, I know. I guess if you take this episode and this is like we're really dialing the charitable reading up to like 12 at this point to be like a meta commentary about police procedural unrealistic technology. Like you can just like read this episode as like a very dark joke.
I suppose. Like, you're not wrong. Okay, here's a big dividing question, I think. Do you think Charlie Brooker, who is the lone writer in this episode...
Yeah.
Do you think he intended it to be humorous, that the guinea pig saw it? And furthermore, do you think he meant it as black comedy to be... Shame, that kid was born blind before he got clobbered?
I'm not 100% no.
Okay.
I think that is, like, having thought about it, that is like the only way this episode has like any merit.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, I think, okay, I kind of think the guinea pig was meant as a dark joke. Like, I think that's it's the bleak, like, holy shit, this woman killed like 4 people, including a baby, and the guinea pig got her. Like, I think that's kind of meant, at least partially, as a joke. I think the baby was born blind thing, I think that one was like, oh, it's so tragic. He didn't need to die. It's deployed very stupidly.
I think the reason it's deployed is for the plot mechanics, so that we have like more or less confirmation that the kid got killed over being an eyewitness because of the dredge.
Right.
And the way they convey that is insane, but that's the actual mechanical purpose, I guess.
Mm.
But yeah, no, like I think like this is I'm not even like that against having this be like my quote unquote official reading. But like I don't think it succeeds.
It sure doesn't do a lot, does
like if it like, because it's like an insurance adjuster, right? We're never like given the like any like satirical layer of like, oh yeah, no, the police are so cool. right? Like,
Yeah, it doesn't feel like proper propaganda, does
yeah,
it?
this episode just like has too much mundane energy to be like a proper send up of a police procedural. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's trying that, which like it would be more interesting than just being bad.
I've,
it falls short.
like I'm trying to gather my thoughts on this entire episode, and like I think the good Black Mirror episodes are two parts, right? Like it's somewhat of a commentary on tech, whether it's like an imagined future tech or it's just a send up of something that currently exists. That's like one part, right? Is that analysis. And the second part is I think a good Black Mirror episode does also have like a very human story to it. And I want to look at the because like we've kind of discussed the tech thing at this point and kind of come to the conclusion that it doesn't do anything. Like what the hell is going on with that? How does it end with the guinea pig being the prime witness? Great question, dude. But that's where we're at. But I want to look at the personal story. Because you know what the personal story here is? Like, I feel like, okay, if you very vaguely described this to me, I would have been like, oh, so it's kind of like a tragedy of a woman being drawn into crime. But she just goes for it. Like, there
Yeah.
isn't, like, the signs of, like, she doesn't look like she wants to do it, but
Oh,
there's
no.
no hesitation. Like, she has a 5-minute conversation with an old friend, and that's enough for her to go, yeah, you're dying.
Yeah.
And that's the start of her crime spree. That's the start.
I want to like draw out a cinematic flourish because I don't think he gets stabbed in the neck.
Okay.
Like I think the sequence of events is just like she sort of like bangs him against the wall. He's a bit shaken up and like falls to the ground, and then she like crushes his windpipe with her forearm.
Jesus.
And we hear a crunch. There's a crunch in this episode as his windpipe is crushed. Like, that is the moment when he is canonically dead.
Like, she's good at killing.
She
She is amazing at this, because, like, within moments of this, it seems, she sets up, okay, I'm gonna put on the porn film so nobody, like, disturbs me. I'm gonna load him up in the room service tray, take him down to the garage, like, load him into the car. Like, she's an accomplished serial killer from, like, day one. It's amazing.
Yeah, no, like, we're even, like, near the end, given to understand by the police investigator just going, like, I don't know what the fuck this is, right? And only, like, the miraculous guinea pig, like, turns the episode around to being like, got him, right?
Chekhov's guinea pig.
And that's sort of, like, like, she is just straight up, like, extremely good at serial killing.
Yeah, like, it's really interesting, because the very first scene where...
Or I guess it's a spree. There's not big enough gaps.
yeah, I guess that's a good point. She's a spree killer. And she's very good at linking murders together, I suppose, is the core of it. Like, she's like, oh man, this means I can kill more people. But, like,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, too, because in the flashback, I guess the prologue, she's the one who's like, oh, we can't just leave him here, and her, like, male compatriot, Rob, according to Wikipedia, I think, is like, no, we can't get busted for this. We were driving intoxicated upon this extremely empty early morning Icelandic road, which again, I have questions about that, but sure, whatever. So, like, she's the one resisting, right? And then, like, he comes back, he's all, like, guilt-ridden, and goes, like, I want to confess. She goes, no, you can't. I've been sitting on this for 15 years. Like, it just feels like it should take a little bit more to rile up the full-on spree killer in her.
I mean, it's an interesting character, but only by implication.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, like, if you explain this plot vaguely and actually showed her, like, descent into this, I think it would be more interesting. But it doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, like we can sort of put together the pieces, kind of, because it's like, okay, like, she has spent 15 years, like, dealing with guilt and shame, which has, like, fucked her up, presumably.
Yeah, and
she has, like, a husband and child and a light to medium drinking problem.
Yes.
And, like, she is very clearly ready to fucking kill over, like, someone trying to take away, like, what she's built, despite, like, her, like, lingering guilt. And that is interesting, but, like, we don't really delve into it.
Yeah, no, like, it's... Because I want to, like, almost get back to a moment to the, like, decision to go on a spree kill with a hammer. Like, I get it. Like, hammers are easy to come by. But I'm also like, okay, if I'm analyzing for it myself, if I was driven to kill someone, like, a gun would probably be easier to, like, sort of get through the mental blocks. Like, a hammer is just, like, physical strength, like, clobbering someone to death. It's gotta be the hardest way, apart from, like, maybe strangling someone.
I don't know, I think a hammer is probably easier than a knife.
You think so?
I think so, because, like, you can swing with a knife, you gotta be, like, better at aiming.
Maybe.
But, yeah, no,
like, I think it's just the brutality of it that
oh,
gets
yeah,
me.
absolutely.
Like, there is so little of the cinematic language in this episode that points to her being, like, a hesitant killer. Because it's like...
No.
Like, there is immediate turning to murder, like, within 5 minutes of, like, oh shit, there's an issue. Like, because the guy isn't even... Like, the first murder she makes, the guy isn't even saying, I'm going to the police station, or, like, the widow to confess. He's gonna write a letter.
He's writing an anonymous letter to tell this lady, like, hey, I did kill your husband, you should move on.
Yeah, and, like, okay, so step one, she is currently several steps removed from this. Like, I get how she thinks she could end up being on the hook for this eventually, but it's gonna take some time. And two, it's literally gonna take some time to write and post the letter. Like, in my head, I would have been like, okay, I guess I'm gonna figure out when he drops it in the post box and then, like, rip it open or something.
Yeah. But, yeah, no, God, I apologize to your listeners for meandering there, but this episode has given us nothing.
We don't have a prime, like, theme to go off. Right?
Yeah, no.
We can't analyze this for something deep, because it's just kind of like a funny little bleak story.
The most, like, deep thing is it's a satire, and that's fucking reaching.
Yeah, we're giving it a lot of credit there.
And, like, it's... Like, there's, like, interesting tidbits, but it's, like... It's so strange in going about itself that it's just like, oh, yeah, no, what's going on here?
Like, I'd like to see an episode with the central premise of the memory dredge. Like, that's cool.
I mean, this was that, though, right? They
But
just, like, fucking
They
fucked
didn't
it.
do anything like that.
They fucked it. That's what they do, though.
Yeah, I know, but, like, I wish they wouldn't, you know?
Yeah, no,
Like, it's not deep and complex, and I guess we don't need to talk about it more, but I'm just like, man, come on, dude, that's cool. You came up with a cool idea.
No, it's, like, it's... What to do?
Yeah, I don't know either. Like,
I feel like I'm ready to end.
I'm ready to end, but I want to make one final point.
Please.
It's not an important point, so feel free to disconnect here. Okay, so we've been making the jokes about the Scotland and Iceland thing, right?
Yeah.
There is a scene where they walk past a map of Iceland, like a what's it called, like a relief of Iceland, and I just think that's so funny. Like, it just gets to me.
Yeah, no, like, this is the most Iceland-looking and shot place ever.
Like, I think, by canonical implications of the show we've seen, by the text of this story, we are in an English colony in Iceland.
Yeah, no, like, this genuinely, like, threw both of us for a loop. We were, like, talking, and we're, like, back and forth while watching. And we were like, there's English people here. How can it be set in Iceland?
This is an alternate history of the UK winning the Cod Wars by annexing Iceland and assumedly performing some sort of ethnic cleansing.
Well, what do we have coming up next week?
Oh, we have Hanged DJ.
Huh.
I remember this being good. I'm ready to be disproven, of course, because I think I've had that thought on like at least one prior episode. Yeah, I think I had that thought about.
How did you recall this one?
What do you mean?
What quality did you recall?
So I will admit I was, ironically, blindsided by the blind baby bit, but I did kind of remember the guinea pig thing. Like, I remember her getting caught in the end for some stupid shit. I think I just remember this episode as being like a comedy of errors.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I was gonna say, I think I remembered USS McAllister? McAllister, I always forget the name of it. I think I remembered that one being better than it was. So, you know, just... I don't know, but I do think this one was... The next upcoming one is good.
Well...
Hang the DJ, 51 minutes.
That's a reasonable episode length.
Yeah, restrained.
And we'll see you next time, dear listeners.
Don't kill any babies. No. Or if you do, kill guinea pigs too.
No witnesses, dear listeners. No witnesses.